Hey family, welcome to the Live with Purpose podcast. I'm your sis, Lisa K. Satchel, and today I have with us one of my dear, closest friends in my entire life, Admiria Essence. Y'all, we have been riding till the wheels fall off through adulthood, figuring it out together, navigating this whole thing. I'm so thankful for her, and I'm so thankful to have her in my life. So, I'm excited for y'all to meet her. So she's going to introduce herself, tell you a little bit, and then we're going to get into today's episode. But Admiria, introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, everybody. So, like she said, I am Admiria Essence. I am an actress and also an entrepreneur, founder of Podcast Drama. I recently finished acting school, and now I am figuring out the rest. So, I'm really happy to be here. Lisa is amazing. Go to the retreat, everyone. I'm telling you now. Go to the women's retreat. It is going to be absolutely incredible. Lisa has the best ideas and she just has so much in store for all of you guys. So go to the retreat. But yes, that is me.
Real friends plug. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Is real friends will plug your stuff when you haven't even mentioned it yet. I love it. No, really, Admiria has, again, riding till the wheels fall off. And I just love having her in my life because we hold each other accountable to our goals. We push each other. We inspire each other. I know she inspires me. I hope I help inspire her. But we push each other to just be better. And I'm so thankful for her friendship. So she's here today, and we're going to start with two truths and a lie. And I think this is going to be hard because you had to think of things that I might not know. And so I'm interested to see what you say.
Yeah, so I had to really think about something. So here we go. Okay. So first one is I've ordered takeout 3 times this week. Mm-hmm. I love a comic book called Baby Mouse when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And I was obsessed with the Minority Kids version of A Midnight Summer's Dream, so much so that I made it my reality.
Those were very well thought out.
I'm trying to think of things that you just wouldn't know.
Right, and also they were so well said that I'm like, what? Okay.
Actress.
No, literally. We love her craft coming in. Okay, so I'm gonna say that something tell me the Midnight Summer's Dream thing was a lie.
It is a lie. It's a lie, but I would tell you, it is a lie because it's actually Romeo and Juliet, that Midnight Summer's Dream.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about one of the things you shared. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to elaborate on?
What am I going to elaborate on? I did eat takeout 3 times this week.
We love transparency.
You know how you just get to the end of the week and you just get so tired and you're just like, no cooking for me this whole
literally.
Weekend. So
like,
that
who
was
has
me.
That effort level?
I ate on one of the days, this is terrible because like, who does this? You know what I mean? But one of the days, because it was my dessert day, so I literally ordered dessert and Brussels sprouts.
I love that for you.
And that was it. Because the Brussels sprouts at Red Lobster are really, really good. And they also have the best, I guess, cake in my area from Uber Eats. So that's all I got. But it was good.
You know what it's called? It's called balance. Look it up, guys.
Yes.
It's called balance. I love that. Okay, so we've gotten to know a little bit more about Admiria, and now we're going to get into it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I was thinking of questions to ask Admiria, I was like, what conversations have I had with her that I think other people need to hear? Because like I said, a lot of times we are there for each other in real tough moments. So I hope today that whatever we say can really inspire you and really enlighten your journey to just know that you're not alone and know that, you got some people in the same boat as you. So the question is, Myra, what is your purpose? That's the first question.
Ooh, you know what? I was just thinking about this recently, and I came up with something really good. I don't have it next to me, so this will be off of memory. But basically, what I had determined was that, in general, I'm very skilled at, like, empathy and performance, and also just organizing and listening and that kind of whole thing. And so I feel like God is using my leadership, my performance, and then also just like my personality to allow me to serve the people that he's called me to serve with his heart and with his eyes. And so that is kind of a broader sense of it, because I think it, how they say the vehicles change, but I really think it's about showing people his love and his heart, and to do that, I have to see people the way he does. So, yeah.
No, I love that because I think God's love is the number one thing about him that is like literally the most compelling thing. And not just the most compelling thing, but the thing that he calls us to do the most. Like, I like to say, I think love is my superpower. I think it's everybody's superpower, but that's like something that's just so important. So, how do you show love to people?
Oh man, I think it's in a lot of ways. I think it's specific to the person. So I think we all know about like love languages and all those things, but they're real. Those are real things, and people receive love in different ways. So the way one person receives love is the way another person does, and for me, it really varies from person to person. But I can say overall, I think that's just it. Personalizing my conversations, personalizing gifts that you give, personalizing, whatever it is, making it really intentional and not this just broad thing that you do with everyone. And I think that's how you make people feel special. And I think it goes back to what I feel like my purpose is because that's what God does. Like, he makes everyone feel like they're his favorite, And I think that as a person, not that I always get it right because I'm not God, but I think it is good to try to make people feel that way, like they matter to you, like they're important to you, like listening to them when they're talking to you and not being distracted with other things, and just those little things that make people feel like it's just me and you right here, so yeah.
No, I love that. And I think that's so important because I like that you brought up love languages because people think of love languages, they think of like only romantic love. And even when people hear the word love, they think of only romantic love. But love, you can have love for a stranger. You can have love for your best friend. You can have love for your parents, your family, like stuff like that. So I think that's so important that you brought up love languages because I know, I'll tell a little story. I know my love language is acts of service and yours is quality time. So to me, if I'm having a conversation with someone and they might be on the phone, like it doesn't necessarily bother me, but I know when I'm talking to you, I'm like, she wants my full attention because she really enjoys quality time. Or like, for example, for me, it's like you helping me, plan promo for the retreat or whatever it is. That means a lot to me and, shows me a lot of like love and makes me feel attended to. So I think definitely love languages are another, like just in the tool belt.
Yeah, I think there's so many things in the tool belt. I can say, like, even for people listening, like, use the tools that are out there. There are so many tools that'll help you learn more about you. Like, it doesn't have to be this big guessing game. It doesn't even have to be this big prayer moment. Like, obviously, there are some things that only God can tell you about you, but there are some things that you could take a little quiz and they'll tell you a whole bunch of stuff, like, the love languages, the Enneagram. There's like Strength Finders test, like all of these things, even a lot of things that I'm saying, like empathy is really big for me. It's because I took a test, you know what I mean? And I kind of already knew that, but I took a test, and they're like, this is big for you. And I'm like, oh, it is big for me. Okay. And it just kind of confirms the things that you already know. So I feel like using the tools that are out there to just learn more about you and the other people. Like, I'm a pro at sending people links to like tests and stuff to get their results because yeah, it's just an easier way to find out more about the people you love and then also you.
No, I think that's really important. I'm trying to stop saying, oh no, I love that, because I do love that, but I keep saying it, but it's fine.
But this is like our daily conversations though. So
no, literally. So, I really appreciate how you brought up like getting to know yourself, because I think that's a big part of the journey of life and like the path to purpose, the path to success. I think the reason we have to have a path and we have to have a journey is because there are steps to it. Like, if you were ready for your purpose now, you would have it. You wouldn't have to figure things out. You wouldn't have to like do things to try to put it together. Like, you would just have it. So I want to know, if you could give us a little bit of what your path to purpose has looked like, or your journey thus far. I know it's a big question. So any bite-sized thing you want to share, or long, we got time. Like, what has that path looked like for you?
Yeah, so for anybody who didn't see that, I just made a face because, yeah, super long, super windy. I think that, the path of purpose for me has been rough. It has been fun. It has been, very enlightening. I think that it comes in stages for me. So I feel like there's always seasons in my life where God is like, and now we're working on this. And Like for the next like couple weeks, it's like people will just keep popping up in my life, and then things keep popping up, and I'm like, whoa, wait, I wasn't ready, no. But then it's like, no, you are ready. That's why it's popping up. But yeah, so for me, getting to the place that I am today, I think it is a lot of me just being, you know what I mean? Like just being and allowing God to reveal things to me through time. I think that a lot of the things that I know now and I'm very certain of, I kind of always knew, but I wasn't completely certain of. So like, for example, with acting, like so this is so cool that they did this, but when I was in middle school, we had to write a letter to ourselves, like to our high school graduated selves, you know, whatever, to see what we were saying. And also I've been keeping diaries since I was a baby kid. So I have all of these things about, you know, me, what I want to do, all this kind of stuff. And literally I would go back to that letter and other diaries that I had, and I always go, I want to be a dentist, but actually I want to be an actress. But if I can't, then I'll just be a dentist. And then it would change to, I want to be whatever. But I actually want to be an actress. But if I can't, then I'll just do that thing. And it was literally my whole life of me kind of always feeling like I wanted to act. And like even like I would look in the 17 magazine, there would be this big ad for New York Film Academy or something. And I'm like, Mom, I want to go to this. And it's like, no. But I think I've always been that way. And I think most people feel that way in the sense of like, you know, sometimes when you watch a Disney Channel, you're like, oh, I want to be a Disney Channel kid. But I feel like there's a difference for me that I feel like is that it stayed. Like, I feel like some people like you know, when you're little, you're like, oh, I want to do this thing. And then you get older, you're like, oh, no, that is not for me. But I think this is the difference for me is that it has always stayed. And so since being a kid, I think the journey for me was really learning that God wanted me to and that I could. I think those were like the biggest things for me because I always thought about it, but I just never thought it was possible. I'm from a small town, so I was just kind of like, I don't really know anybody who really does that. And I don't know, it just didn't feel real or possible to me. So for my journey to purpose, I guess, and even like I said, acting isn't the full thing, but it's the piece that, you know, I'm talking about in this moment. But it was really God revealing to me that these are the true desires of your heart. And I want you to do it, and that's why it's a desire of your heart, and you can. So that is like, I feel like, I don't know if that fully answers the question, but yeah. God
No, it does.
Yeah.
It does. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm sitting here getting emotional, guys. I don't know why. I think really it's because, like, the things she's sharing, first of all, are so true. And as her friend, like, I know. But I also think it's like, it makes me sad that like people can go through life and like, I'm sure some people listening, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Wait a second. I don't know why this is happening.
I feel you though. It's yeah.
And people go through life like pushing down their dreams for so long.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because I think you go through things in life and you're just like, there's no way that can happen. And I've even had moments, like, you know, recently, where I've been like, nah, but I can't. And I'm just thankful that I have friends who have, like, the faith to be like, but you can, you know? And I think that's why this episode is important. Like, again, I am not sure why I'm crying. I asked Holy Spirit, take it away. Like, I don't want to cry on this podcast today. What is going on? And here I am crying. So clearly it needs to happen. But I think it's just because, like Myra had this happen for me the other day. Like, the Holy Spirit is just, like, grieved. Because there are people giving up. Like, there are people, like, who are, there are things placed in their hearts. And they're letting go of it. And I can say that I've been that way sometimes. And there are little things where I feel like I may still be that way. But I also know that there's so many of us that, like, it's just hard out here, bro. Like, as you know, like, these streets be tough. Like, growing up is hard. Holding on to your dreams is hard. And I don't think that we give ourselves enough credit for still existing, for still powering through it. And for those of us who can hold on to that faith with that endurance, like, talking about that. Because I think everyone thinks that everybody else's journey is smooth. You know, and it's just not. There's no way, the most successful person you can think of, there's no way they've never had trials. There's no way it's ever been hard for them. So that's why I just think this episode is so important. Because one day when Amira's a big superstar, she got her Oscar, she got her EGOT. I'm claiming it in the name of Jesus. She got a
Yes.
full, like,
Right there, Jennifer Hudson, yes. Congrats to
she's
her.
gonna know. She's gonna,
Yeah.
like, y'all are gonna know, like, it wasn't just all easy, you know? And I think, I don't know, it's just so easy to think that we are the only ones going through it. And, like, we're not. So in this journey where it's been rough, if you've had tough times, what, what kept your faith up? What kept your hope, your dreams in your head? Like, what was that for you?
Yeah, I think the first thing, also thank you for sharing that, because yeah, it is a lot, and I do see that a lot of people giving up, and yeah, it's definitely one of those things. It's like, no, don't give up. But I think that for me, the first thing that came to mind was friends. Like, I really feel like my community has really helped me, and it's funny because a lot of people are always like, oh, like, you have so much faith, like, that's like really cool. And I'm like, do I? I don't know. But I think that being in community and being with other people who are going through similar things, or at least who can stand in the gap for me and pray, like, you need some praying friends. Like, I will say that before anything, like, you need praying friends. And I think that for me, that's the first thing that comes to mind, especially because I have not always had that, in the sense that I have not always had the community that I do now and the way that I do now. And so, yeah, that's the biggest thing for me, knowing that when I want to do something crazy, when I'm thinking about doing something crazy, in the world standards, I can go to people and be like, hey, I'm feeling this way. I know it's crazy, but, what you want to do? And I think that's really important and helpful for me, and also my family as well. I think that my family is a big motivator for me to do the best that I can possibly do. And I think that, yeah, they motivate me a lot, in the sense that also, like, that unconditional love from people, in the sense that I know a lot of people, not everybody has this, but I am, for anybody listening, I'm believing God for you to be able to have someone, even if it's not even your close family member, or, a close friend, even if it's just someone at church or someone that you work with. You can meet these people anywhere, but just people who support you no matter what, even if they don't necessarily agree with it, or even if they're like, oh, that sounds so world, but hey, go for it. You know what I mean? So I think those things have really kept me. But then also my faith, God, like, literally, God is my faith. It's like, God is my faith. So it's, for me, his promises to me, even when it gets hard. I think one of the things that God always whispers to me personally is, I love you. And it used to annoy me for a long time, because I would be in those hard seasons, and I would be in places where I'm literally lying down on the floor crying like a toddler, and like a temper tantrum of like, why is this happening to me? Like, why won't you save me from this? And he would just be like, I love you. And I'm like, this don't feel like love. This don't feel good. I don't like it. You know what I mean? So those moments for me are things that I look back on, and that still happens to this day, because there's always some times where I'm like, and a lot of times when I have questions, about the things that he's promised me, and I have questions about what to do next, his response oftentimes is, I love you. And now I've gone to a place where I realize that what he's saying to me is that he loves me, and so everything that is happening to me is a part of that, which is hard for people to, grasp sometimes, because it's the whole, like, God is so good, then blah, 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 blah. But I think because he loves me, there's things that he holds back from me, because he knows I'm not ready for it yet, or it would harm me. You know what I mean? Because he loves me, he's taking me on this path and this journey that when I get out on the other side, I'm going to be gold. Like, you know what I mean? He's taking me on this journey that is for me. Like, it's for me. He made this for me, and this is so perfectly tailored to me and to what he has me to do. And so it's like every step, even though it doesn't make sense to me, makes perfect sense to him. And why? Because he loves me. And that's why he made this plan in the first place for me. So I think that kind of those three buckets, I guess, friends, family, and then just God loving me. Because I think, too, that, like I said, for me, it's like love is a big part of my purpose. So it's important for me to know that God loves me, because then when I experience his love, then I can then love myself, and then I can give that love to other people from the overflow of him loving me. It's not even me. Like, I'm just giving out the overflow, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I appreciate that because it reminded me when you were talking in the song that Kirk Franklin has called Just For Me. And he goes, the lyrics go, it don't feel good, but growing never does. And it doesn't seem fair for you to call this love. But if
Yeah.
necessary, pain is the ingredients for change. Even when life seems bittersweet, it's working just for me.
Yeah.
And it's like such a real song because it's very realistic. It doesn't feel great. I don't love it.
It's
I'm
not
not
good.
interested.
Yeah.
You can take it back, whatever it is. And I once heard Steve Harvey say this thing. It was in one of those motivational quotes like that people post.
Yeah.
And he was like, if God told you everything it was going to take for you to get to your dreams, you wouldn't want it. You would not want to do it.
You would move away.
You would
Yeah.
not be interested. But because he's so sovereign, because he's so good, he reveals it to us step by step. And again, that sounds cute right now, but in the moment, it's just like, could you just tell me like what the vibe is? Like, could you just
Yeah.
put me where I need to be? And so, what advice would you give to somebody who's like in that middle part? Like, who's just trying to like make it to the next thing? Who's just trying to take the next step? Like, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah, so even when you were talking about Kurt Franklin, it made me think about his song Hide Me, which is another song that I would listen to over and over and over, in those tough times. But he says, the only way my faith can grow is when you let your winds blow. You're making me stronger now, so rain don't go away. And I think that the key is to not pray for the situations to change. It's for you to pray for you to change. And I think that has been a big lesson for me in life, is that I am always wanting the situation to change, but God is wanting me to change. Because that's what he's about. He's about transformation. He's about taking us to the next level. He's about, not even taking us to the next level, but just like creating this beautiful life for us. He has a beautiful story for you. This is truly a love story, as people say all the time. It's like, my life is a vision of God's love for me. And so it's, for me, in those moments, praying not for it to go away. Because I think it's easy to do that. But when you actually see that, by me getting through this thing, I am going to come out better. And then I'm going to be more prepared, more mature in my faith, more prepared for the things that he has for me. Because like you said, what Steve Harvey was saying, is like, if you knew all that it took, you wouldn't do it. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is not giving up in it and not getting up out of it. Because I think it's really easy to find an alternative route. So like, for example, I used to struggle a lot with like my finances, and it was always really hard. And there would be moments, again, laying on the floor like a toddler crying, like, God, what is going on here? And there would be easier ways out. Like, I would see an ad on Instagram for like, buy this, like, get a loan to put all your loans together and get a whatever, happy money, and all the kind of things that they got going on now for something, or like, do this thing, and I'm just like, oh, this is the easy way out. Or for me, like, getting a lot of debt, or different things that seem like a quick way in the moment, but it does not help me in the long run, because it's building bad money habits. So like, that is an example for me where in those moments I have to trust him. And then that's when sometimes the crazy thing happens, where you'll get money in the mail, or someone will be like, oh, you need some money, whatever. Sometimes those things happen, sometimes they don't. But, for me in those moments, I get stronger, because then I'm like, okay, something's off. I need to fix my budget. I need to get a better paying job. I need to, whatever I need to do, I figure that out. And then I become stronger, you know what I mean? I think it reminds me of it's the glory of God to conceal a thing, and the honors of king to search it out. And so I'm taking away my honor when I don't seek for the God way. You know what I mean? And I think that I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I want to seek God. I want to seek his face. He wants us to find him. I think that's another thing too. We feel like God is hiding from us in situations, or especially when we're in the middle of it. It feels like he's not there. But he is there. He sees it all. And he needs you to go through this to get to the other side. And you can. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, You can. You can get through this. You may need some help. You may need to call on some people to pray. You need some prayer warriors. I'm going to keep saying that. You need praying friends. Get you some praying friends, But plug, retreat, you can get praying
I'm
friends
crying.
there. But yeah, I think those are the biggest things for me when you're in the middle of it. Don't give up, praying friends, and then also don't get up out of it.
Yeah, and I love what you said about asking God to shift your perspective. Because I think that's so important when it comes to those tough situations. And I really appreciate it when you were like, sometimes that check will come in the mail randomly, sometimes it won't.
Sometimes you're broke.
Sometimes you're just gonna be broke. And that's a really crappy thing to say.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes you're just gonna be in a season where it's not changing just yet. And yet being the key word. Sometimes you're gonna be unemployed for 6 months. Shut up, myself. Sometimes. And God's gonna provide for you in other ways. I can say even personally, I went through a season of literally 6 months of unemployment. And I was like, God, provide. God, provide. The way he decided to provide was having me have to borrow money from my family. I hated it. 0 stars. Don't ever want to do it again.
Yeah.
Hated it. But I was like, God, you've put me... Some people can't do that. And I had to realize God put me in a situation where he could provide for me. It just wasn't in the way that I wanted him to. And just because he's not doing it in your way doesn't mean that he's not doing it. And so I think that's the thing about perspective. And just because he's not growing you in the way that's comfortable or fun doesn't mean he's not growing you. And so again, I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I'll be like, God, can this change? And if not, change me. Help me see it right. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one. You know what I'm saying? Those prayers are really important to ask for his eyes to see your situation. Because again, like you said, he loves us. He would never put us in something that's not going to work out for our good. So help me see the good. Help me see why I'm here. Help me have faith even, And again, like you said, when you can't pray for yourself, that's when you need people to pray for you. And here it comes again. I'm getting emotional again. I don't know what's happening today.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, it's real. It's real,
And I think even when we're talking about the retreat, it's fun to plug it and stuff and all that good stuff, but really, purpose is so important. Yeah. And I know that I couldn't do it without community. And that's why the retreat has to exist. Because sometimes oh my God.
Just go. Let it go. As Elsa says, let it go.
Literally, our conversations are happening right now. A detour into a Disney song. It's fine. Anyways, so the retreat has to exist because people don't have community that can pray for them. And that is so overly important. There is no way I could have gotten through my past season without friends like you, without mentors who prayed for me, without community, and I really feel God is calling me to make that space for people. And it's desperately. If something happens and it can't happen the way that we've been planning it,
nope, we're not saying that.
Okay. See, this is what you need friends for. Because I was about to detour into this whole thing that somehow it's gonna happen, and give up on the dream of it, and give up on the faith of it. Oh my God, I hate this. I don't like crying on here, but honestly and truly, it's just so important to have those people around you, and I think that's why this thing has to exist, because everybody needs this. It's not just some of us need it. None of us are an island. None of us can do this alone. And you need, your purpose is gonna happen. And you need people to do it. You can't do it by yourself. And not even just, in your own strength. Yes, you need God, but you need God's people. God put people on the earth to help you. And so, it's so important. And if you don't have that community, you're missing out. Even for people who can't afford the retreat, that's the other reason I made the Bible study. Live group Bible study plug. Find it on the socials. But literally it's just we need community. And I think because of the pandemic and because of the time we're in and the generation we are, sometimes we're just me by myself. I'm out here. But no, you who's gonna have faith for you when you can't? When you as a human are just drained. That's why you need community.
Yeah. And if not,
So,
who's it for? Because I will say this, if your purpose has nothing to do with other people, it is not your purpose.
mm,
That is not how God works. And I think that in general, from the beginning, we see that, there was community. And I think that sometimes people can look at scriptures like in Genesis and see like, oh, Adam was working and he ain't had nobody. He had God, yes. And sometimes I think we can look at that and say, oh, this is how it always needs to be. And there are seasons where you are in isolation. Like I know for me, there were seasons where I was in isolation, but I was never not without people. But there were moments where it was more me and God being together. But
right.
that's not a long-term thing. That's never a long-term thing. And I think some people look at, whatever in their life and they don't include people in it. And it's just like, you will be miserable. You will be miserable. Like there's no way around that. So if you are looking at your purpose and you're like, oh, is this my purpose? I don't know. It's like, purpose is always like, it's bigger than just the vehicle, like for me, like, acting is one of the vehicles. Entrepreneurship is one of the vehicles. Your purpose is bigger than the thing you do. There's a larger reason that you are here. There's a larger reason why this world needs you, why people need you, why God thought it was a good idea to bring you onto this earth, why he literally knit you and was like, oh yeah, then this is going to happen in 2022. And then in 2026, they're going to do this. And then like, there is a reason, like you are not random. You're not random. And it's like, because you're not random, there's a specific reason why you exist. And I think sometimes my biggest thing, where for me, I can get emotional sometimes too when you're talking about people not, giving up on their purpose. My thing is people not knowing it or knowing that they have one or just feeling like, oh, life is random. There's nothing for me to do. I'm just going to go to my job every day and just be a robot. And you know what I mean? And they just have they're aimless. I think that is the biggest part for me is just aimless people who just don't even realize like there is a God that loves you, who gave you this purpose, this big thing in life that you are going to love because you were created to love it. There is a cheat code to life. Literally, like that's what it is. There is a cheat code to life. Like I feel like some people, talk about manifesting or making a PowerPoint or, whatever. And, I'm a PowerPoint gal. Like I will always make a PowerPoint. But there's a bigger cheat code. There is a friend. There is a father. There is a God. There is a Savior who loves you and has a life for you. And he knows all of the answers. And all you have to do is ask. Like, I feel like people don't feel the gravity of that sometimes of like, all you have to do is ask. And sometimes you won't always get the answers, but sometimes you will. You don't have to be like, oh, should I move to Texas or should I move to Oklahoma? I don't know. You can ask. And then you can be in godly community who they can then confirm what you heard. Because that's another thing too. It's like if you're in isolation, who is there to confirm with you? Who is there to say, you know what I mean? And not that everybody has to agree with you all the time, but there are certain things like, am I going to move? Am I going to marry this person? Whatever. That you want to have some confirmation on that. Like you want to have other people than just you, because that's where the enemy in isolation could be like, oh, well, did he say that? Or, oh, he said this, actually, he meant this, or whatever. And that's why community is important, because you need people to be like, girl, I'm going to be honest with you. He is not the one. He's not the one. He's not the one. And you can't depend on like your small group leader or someone, random person from church that you look up to do that, because they don't know you. And sometimes God may lead them to tell you something, but usually he's going to use the people that are near you because you'll receive it from them. If a random person came up to you, you'll be like, girl, no. You know what I mean? Which is why he gives us community, because you'll receive it from them. And so, yeah, that's big for me. Don't be aimless. You have a purpose. God loves you. And you can't find it in isolation.
Yeah. And I love when you were talking about Adam, how he was working, but he was lonely. He was like, God, can we get somebody else here? Like, I don't want to do this by myself.
Yeah.
And then that's when Eve was created.
And too, for the guys out there, I think that's even a bigger thing. Because I listened to that podcast you told me to listen to earlier with the Perrys about dating, and they were talking about men who I feel like they have so many options, so they never settle down. They never want to be with one woman. They never want to, really seek their wife. And I think that's a big thing right there. A big flag of, hey, because humans, we're different. For a lot of things, we're the same. That's how you can have a meme about something. 90s kids be like, da da da. And you're like, oh, yeah, that was me. Because there are similarities in us. Because, we're human. That's a part of, you look at a sloth. And they have certain things that they do, and you can go look at 17 different sloths, but there's certain things that they do because they are a sloth. Like, it's the same. Like, we are humans, so there's some things that we just need. And if that, like anything, for the guys out there, that's proof to be like, hey, you can't do this alone. You can have the best job in the world. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. You will get lonely. Eventually, it'll get lonely. That was a long job. He had to name all of them animals. That was, we don't even know how long that took. You know what I mean? Like, that was a minute. And still, he was lonely. So, and for ladies too, but yeah.
I love that. Well, guys, what an episode.
We could talk about episode, yeah.
Literally, we'll have a part 75. Literally, that's how many parts there'll be if we keep talking. Literally, me and Myra will get on the phone and stay on the phone for 5 hours, so it's fine.
Yes, it has happened many times, actually.
Right, and that's why we're here right now. So, I appreciate you being here, Myra. The people want to know, outside of purpose and loving God and doing it so well, what are your interests? What do you like to do? Like, what is something you're passionate about?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to get more hobbies, to be honest with you.
I get it.
I will say something that I'm passionate about right now is Stranger Things. Very excited about it. Very into everything that's happening there. I like episode 4 of season 4. If you know, you know. It was, I don't even say this, but chef's kisses, as the people say. It was so good. It was so good to the point that I had to be like, who wrote this episode? Let me look it up. So I feel like that's like the thing for me that I just absolutely love. And then also Disney World, because side note, having faith for things. I've been wanting to go to Disney World since I was 23. I am turning 28 this year. So those are a lot of years. And I finally was like, you know what? No, let's have faith for it. Let's not keep saying I want to go. Let's actually go. So I started planning. Y'all, my birthday not till January. I am already picking the hotel and the dates and all that stuff. So I feel like I just have so much knowledge about Disney right now. Like, I feel like I have like Disney brain because I'm constantly looking at videos and articles and everything about first time at Disney, how to do Disney well, how to save money to go to Disney and all that stuff. So, yeah.
I love that. So when y'all see our Disney pictures, y'all know.
Gonna happen.
This is where we spoke it into existence. This is when God confirmed it. Amen. Yes. Hopefully in the name of Jesus. We all want to go. I think it would be really fun for us to do. So yeah. Thank you for being here, Myra. How can they find you? How can they follow you and your business? How do they do that?
Yeah, so business first, podcast drama. So actually podcast drama. That is it. It is on everything. So Twitter, Instagram, the website is www.podcastdrama.com. And we will be having, I can say what it is. Basically it's a space for artists. So my goal is to get artists who the industry is basically overlooking, who are super talented and have all these amazing skills, but just don't have the opportunity, and give them a platform to release their stories and their talents to the world. So that is what the podcast is, and we specifically focus on entertainment industry, so the podcasts that we do are fiction. And we are in the works of everything right now. Pre-production is going on, but you can sign up to our newsletter to know when we will be releasing stuff. For me personally, I will be honest, lately I have not been the best social media person, but I hope to get on there more in the future. So you can find me on Instagram at Admiria Essence. That is spelled Admiria Essence. And yes, that is my actual name.
Well, guys, I'm full. I feel like this was a good episode. And also podcast drama, you guys definitely want to tap in with that. Some great things are going to come out of there. As someone who knows some stuff, I promise you won't regret it. It's going to be really great and really exciting. You can follow me at Lisa K. Satchel. I'll share more about the retreat. I'll share more about the Bible study so that you can build that godly community we were talking about, so that we can encourage you in your purpose. That's the vibe. We're just out here trying to encourage you in your purpose. We don't want nothing from you. We just want to give to you. So that's really the goal with all the things, with the retreat, with the Bible study, with even this podcast, just trying to give to you guys and be, you know, God's hands and feet here on the earth as much as I can. Yeah. So that's that. So follow me at Lisa K. Satchel, LISAKSATCHELL. And then 2 L's. Some people forget the second L. Anyways, and then you can follow the podcast at Live with Purpose Pod on Instagram. And yeah, appreciate you guys for watching. Bye.
Bye.